Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Meet me up. I read from verse 1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years drew near, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Why the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the cloud return after the rain. Verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the granders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the window be darkened. Verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the street when the sounds of the grandness is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bells, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. You know what daughters of music mean? Those who love to party. He said they shall be brought low at that date. Verse 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way. And the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and the desire shall fail. Are you there? And desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Verse 6. Or ever the silver cord be loose, or the golden bowl be broken, or the patches being broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the crystal. Okay, verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. Verse 8, the last verse. Vanity of vanity, saith the preacher, all is vanity. By the grace of God, I preach on a message the Holy Spirit titled Vanity Waiteth, or Vanity at the Door. I think that should be easier. Vanity at the door. Vanity at the door. Sir, there is nobody alive now that is alive by mistake. Nobody. I studied the Bible times without number. I started thanking God that they didn't give birth to me in the days of Jesus, and I was not even from Israel. My own is simple today because the sin happened in my family. It was my father that committed the idolatry. My great-grandfather committed. I'm correcting their error. It's different from when you are part of their error, trying to correct yourself and them. The lifespan of your life might not be able to accommodate it because the days of men are few. Who told me if I've come in the days of Christ, I would have been one of the disciples? Who told me? Who told me my father would not have been part of those who stoned him and convinced me and said, we have not seen such a thing before? All we believe is Moses. With this my zeal, I would have long battered and shattered him. Who even told me that in the days of the apostle, I would have even still repented? I would have maybe been zealous, keeping the traditions of my father. But he knew the generation I can withstand and be correct. That's why he brought me this day. And he wanted to bring me to a country where Christianity is not under confrontation. If I have come from Syria, I don't think I would have been a Christian. What am I saying? There is nobody in this world today, in the place, in the where you are not the family you came from, that is by mistake. No. We are all here for a reason. There is nobody that is in this church today by mistake. No. There is something I've come to observe. There are people that live your life that is God's will. There are people that stay in your life that is God's will. That's why most of the time when some persons leave the church, I don't chase them. You know why? If their pastors chase them from them to be here, they won't have me here. That's what I've come to understand. Some of you right now, you are looking at me. The reason why you are still sitting here observing me is because your pastor have not come. The day your pastor, you hear he arrives, you won't even know what will take you to the church and you'll never return. Am I talking to you now? I was your keeper. I preserved you before that man came. So also somebody preserved you somewhere before I came. So how will you now live there and come and gather here? And I'm not angry. No, we are all passing. Not everybody who passed through this lane will remain. So we only rest for a while. But in that resting for a while, you are trying to let them know the pattern of whom their pastor will be. There are some people in this church that we can never go to any church again. Not all. They will never go to any church again where they prophesy and collect money. They not go again. So if a prophet is coming, it has to resemble where they are coming from the spirit totally. But nevertheless, everyone is passing, whether you like it or not. So imagine me getting angry and say you left the church. You left the church, you didn't leave me. You can even leave and yet to become best friends. Am I talking to you? Man of God, send me a card number. I don't. No. We are all brothers and sisters now. You don't know. Right? So there is nothing in life that happens by mistake. There is nothing in life that takes place by error. Everything is planned. As at the time your parents gave birth to you, they were not yet married. You were born out of wedlock because you were predestined to be born out of wedlock. There is something that thing has to do in your destiny. Because everybody is sent to different set of people. If I be the son of a rich man, there are some knowledge I will have that you won't need. Me be the son of a poor man, at the end of the day, there are some knowledge I have today that you need. But there are some knowledge some kind of rich persons we not need. That's why I'm at the boundary between rich and poor. What am I doing? When the poor are coming, I'm channeling their way to be rich. Because if I did come from these streets, I would have known how to tell you, pass the left. Tell us you the look for so street. Pass the. I was here before, and I'm at the boundary to let you know the right place to go. That's what God is using me to do, delivering people from poverty to being wealthy. There's nobody in this church, except maybe you just came to complete the seat, that will tell me since you entered, your financial life have not been better. No, we don't have such a covenant. God forbid. We teach you business. You know, I actually preach just to make sure every knowledge is complete in you. We leave John the Baptist and we talk of business. We leave John the Baptist just to make sure everything, you have all the ingredients when it comes to success. Am I talking to you now? It's still not by error. It's not by mistake. Am I talking to you now? Yes. So in the place we read in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 from verse 1, he said you should remember God now in the days of thy youth. That's number one. Before the evil day come, where you shall say, I find no pleasure in everything I've been doing. It's not death. We are not talking about death now. There are some level in old age that are even preferred than burial. In old age, they are still alive, but the regret is too much. Am I talking to you now? One thing I have to tell you, if I don't start from the beginning, I can't tell you the ending. The reason why man came to this earth was because of God. God brought man for himself. Please listen to me. In order to bring man for himself, he brought sand, made clay in the book of Genesis, right? And put breath on that clay, and man became a living soul. The reason why God didn't make man a total spirit was because everything that was on earth came from him. And he made everything physical to a certain realm. So in order to be able to function in that realm, he needed an element from that realm to function in that realm. It is possible would have just manifest and said, sand come from heaven, but you can't fit in earth. It has to be an earthly vessel, possessed with an earthly vessel to be able to move on earth. Then he created Adam from the dust of the earth. Why did he create Adam? He just brought him and put him in the garden. Why did? Because of fellowship. Imagine God just created you just to be having fun. The reason why he created you was just to be playing. You both will talk, discuss, and he tell you do this and you do it. You remind him of his authority to command. Then he always keep on being king, complete in him, because you always obey him. That's the reason why you came. Not to really have a job. I said then not to have a job. I said not to suffer, not to sell in the market, nothing like that. It was just for that fellowship. But a problem happened. Man fell. As at the time man fell, The reason why God left us to look for how we can survive. Man went to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Knowledge means I am now wise. Leave me to do it myself because I know. Because since you now know, you do it now. That's what brought suffering. Right? But the initial state of God's plan have not changed. But we have become so distracted today that we are even moving out of God's plan, trying to stay in God's plan. Am I talking to you now? Yes. At the end of the day, there is something God needs. Because you are 3 elements in one. For example, when you say God is 3 persons in one, I will keep repeating it till I'm old. When you say God is 3 persons in one, it doesn't really mean 3 people. If you want to think about God, remove your sense of knowledge. He doesn't function with what He made available to you. It's easier than that. When you want to think of where God came from, how God looked like, the highest you can do, don't think. Don't just think, because you can never think right. Am I talking to you now? That's why the Bible says His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, His ways higher than our ways. You can't think of God with this your normal mind. At the end of the day, you actually succeed. It doesn't happen like that. Right? In the whole, everything God put in our brain, the capability, nobody has ever had the grace to use everything. Never. It takes a pure spirit to be able to be sensitive to use the whole brain. We only use like 3%. Am I talking to you now? Then when God wants somebody to have His wisdom or to be blessed with divine wisdom, maybe He increases His own to like 5. Then when that man have a kind of like those 5 senses of wisdom, at the end of the day becomes higher than you that have just 3. You are surprised. How is this man getting these things? How is he knowing these things? Imagine if 5 can rule over 3 so perfectly well that everybody are surprised concerning wisdom. Then you want to try to imagine God with your 3% of knowledge or 3% of brain. A God that is infinite. The brain He gave you came from the thing He created that created. Am I talking to you now? You have He didn't put ability in you to be able to reason right when it comes to that level. All He wants you to do is to obey His will. Finish. Right? So when you try to reason how big God is, for example, where they stay, how that was the problem that made Satan fall. You are trying to decode a knowledge He didn't make available to your will. Now what did Satan go look for when God drive him? He's a rebel, spiritual rebel. It's a rebellion. Don't try it. Are you understanding what I'm saying now? Yes, it's rebellion. You are trying to search out knowledge He didn't make available. It was searching knowledge that made Adam fall. Searching knowledge that made Eve fall. People are still making the same mistakes. Because the more you try to increase that knowledge, to try to know, okay, I will not surely die. Okay, because those knowledge were not disposed to men. But they got excited when Satan interacted with them. And at the end of the day, they fell the way Satan fall. So there's a certain knowledge you try to pursue, the end point is falling. Am I talking to you now? If I try to pursue knowledge in a way more than the way God gave it to me, in the sake of knowing, not by God's will, like knowing, and I go to the highest Bible school, and my motive of going there to higher, maybe I can go to Cambridge, not because they have power. The highest Bible school is in Africa now. If it comes to spirituality, forget that. You can go there and learn doctorate, but the highest, if you come out from Nigeria, you don't. Am I talking to you now because we have it now? We'll be the Cambridge of our time. You know, it's true. At the end of the day, I now go to, just because I want to have that name that I went to so pastor school and I came like this. The end point is that I will have pride. I will go to a man that can heal the sick and tell him I attend Cambridge Bible School. That's why a lot of people in this kingdom that speak big English don't have power. Because the knowledge they went to seek is out of the context of God's will for their life. From God, you start from number 1. Not even if you have the ability to, you have the finances to, you still start from number 1. So there are some thinking that are not yours. You better not think of it. Bible says, for the peace that surpasseth all understanding is a foolish thing for you to try to understand the peace that God said is surpasseth understanding. So there are some things that are not meant for your level. Am I talking to you now? Yes. The highest you can do, Father, thank you. Whether good, Father, thank you. Because even if you ask from now till tomorrow why it happened, you will not have results. You will not have answer. So no need. And you only have a few time. You are not infinite. You have a few time to live on earth. Why will you waste it on asking a question that you will never have answer to? You just let it go and just thank God and move on. Whether it's bad or whether it's good, though, just thank God and move on. Am I talking to you now? That's the best way to handle those issues. At the end of the day, 3 persons in one actually means it can't be separated if you try to think of it. Right? You see, as this young man is standing here, this young man is 3 persons in one. Are you understanding what I'm saying now? This one we are seeing is the flesh. Is the flesh. This one is the one that was taken from sand. This very one is useless. God has nothing to do with it. That's why at the end of the life of this young man, when the 2 go, this one will be condemned to the earth because God don't need it. You know, when you are packing your stuff from an old house to a new one, there are some properties you just put fire and burn because you don't need it in that environment. That's how this flesh is. You hear what I'm saying now? Inside this man, there is something we call the reasoning faculty. The ability to think, to reason. That's his soul. He's another person. He's his own person. So much look like him if you see it spiritually. You can't see that one with your naked eyes. But it functions through this flesh. Doesn't mean this flesh is the master of it. No. This one is just a carton, like a house that is housing the soul, the ability to think and to dwell, and the spirit inside of him. Am I talking to you now? Yes. What God requires, or we need, is the salvation of your soul through the spirit. It doesn't need this flesh. But the problem is that we end up, because of the world we find ourselves on the level of distraction, everything we do today is this flesh that he won't need. Then what he will need, we end up making those things, those one not right. At the end of the day, wherever your flesh go to, if you fall, if your flesh is not worthy enough, it falls with your soul falls with the flesh. That's why Jesus came to die for the salvation of your soul, not your spirit. Your spirit don't need to be saved, and the flesh will never be saved. It's your soul. So what will save the soul? To always teach the soul about the spirit of Christ is as if you are letting the soul know the initial plan before the fall of man. But this flesh will be telling your soul, I don't need no other plan. I'm more just chop, I'm more just do one. At the end of the day, skip everything concerning God. Even argue God, at the end of the day, loses salvation. Am I talking to you now? So the way you cannot separate this one, if you call him now, if you call him, the person who turns an answer, he held you with his soul, but he answered with his spirit. Because his soul understands. The flesh don't understand anything. If you move now from Nigeria to America, your body don't know whether or day or night the day. Are you understand what I'm saying now? Your body don't know. All those ones when they tell you for science, say the part of the brain will not signal now the workings of the soul. Because if the soul depart from this body, you see those brain, all the particles, they are still there. Even if they tear the head, they will still see them, but they know they work again because the spirit when they make them work, they'll come out. That's why when a man dies, he resembles the same as a man who is living that is sleeping, but call his name, he won't answer. But when you get there, you can still see his heart, but they will tell you it's no longer beating. For his heart not to be beat, it means what was making his heart to beat has gone. Are you understand what I'm saying now? Then his kidney, his liver, everything stands still. What happened? The spirit that made those things to work before, because those things needed life to work. Those things also have spirits to be able to function. When those things go, every part of the body will still be complete but useless. So why will you come to me and they tell you you have kidney issue? I tell you, hold on. When they take you injection, it goes to work on this flesh. That's what the machine try to decode. But I tell you, what is making that, the spirit inside that kidney, I can talk to that spirit and that kidney will be well. You believe the doctor that ends in the flesh more than me, they understand the spirit. That's the problem when you doubt God with doctor's reports. That's what happens. And you know what will happen? Doctor's report will stand over God's report. Because his God doesn't mean his report will work in your life, except you agree. Are you understand what I'm saying now? The Bible says, a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So whichever one you agree to is what you are. Are you getting the whole code? Yes, that is how it is. So when they say, God, if I call this one, sir, he has to come with the 3 persons, soul, spirit, and body. That's how God is. So for you to say, and Jesus is the Father, they don't understand. It's hard to explain Jesus when you are not seeing him in person. It's hard. Not every man of God has encountered this Christ. It's not like a school where you carry grade 1 at the end of the day. No, sir. This one is spirit. This one is spirit. Jesus don't come to you the platter of enjoyment. You have to die. The kind of journeys a lot of us have taken. If you take that kind of journey, once you come back, when I was in the mountain, I'll be talking to a spirit like this. I was so sensitive to understand. I was mentally disturbed in January. I was mentally disturbed when I came here. You know, I just came from that Saturday and I had the service on Sunday. I wanted to lead praise. I forgot. I have to be telling the choir, if you are here in church that day, I have to be telling the choir, remind me songs so I can know how you actually really forgot praise because you think me and you were facing. You know, we were not. How can somebody be in the mountain, be conducting deliverance in church? You know how many miles away, and spirits are responding to spirits, but the person who owns the body is not even aware. Sir, this kingdom is spiritual, sir. It's controlled by spirits. It's spiritual. It's spiritual. There are people that can hold remote control like this in the spirit and be controlling someone else's life. This word is spiritual, either good or bad. Am I talking to you now? Then at the end of the day, what we have to do is to actually end up glorifying that spiritual being so the soul can meet the original plan of God before the fall of man. But what we do today is that we do everything for the flesh. You want to work and make money. Wonderful. But if the motive is wrong, then you are wrong. Why do you want to make money? Is 100 billion naira good? Is the best. Wow. That's man. But what's the reason? Why do you want to make money? To have a car. Wonderful. For mobility or no, I want Buga, then you are wrong. Is it for necessity? Maybe you just want to, at least so that movement can be easy, or you want to have pride, so they say, let me get this Bugatti. Then you are working for the flesh that will perish. You are wrong. So what is the reason? There's a lot of people that marry because they want to have children. At the end of the day, their wives have become slaves in their houses today. You will tell your wife, not touch my pikin. No, you are telling your wife, when I never divorce, the wife still there with you. You tell her, say, not touch my pikin. Not be our pikin, my pikin. And your wife is now afraid of you not to touch the child because you don't know how their papa want to react. Sir, now push you for come push. That's why we came to change that message. If you are like that, change. Change. Oh no, Jesus. Change. Am I talking to you now? Yes. But the spirit tells you that a man and a woman are of the same flesh. That means when your wife is dirty, I know you are dirty. Right? When your wife is clean, I know you are clean. Are you understand what I'm saying now? Yes.